Okay, now let's proceed to conceptual and operational definition. Okay, so you encountered this already in your statistics class, wherein conceptual definition is referring to how you understand a construct. Just like in my explanation earlier about the um, different theoretical research articles, they different theoretical research articles may be referring to the same construct, but the way they explain it may be different. So let's say from a developmental perspective, from a personality research perspective, from socio-cognitive perspective, there are different ways on how they apply it. Such as, imagine you have a group of blind men who are located in the different parts of an elephant, and they were asked to describe the elephant. So the blind man on the trunk describes the elephant differently from the blind man on the elephant's ears, and the blind man on the body, and the blind man on the elephant's tail. So they're all referring to the same thing, but their perspective are coming from different directions, and they all have a point, diba? That can be acceptable. So you're not saying that one is better than the other because they may be valid all at once. So that's how conceptual definition works. Sometimes they are coming from a different approach on how they arrive with with the definition. For example, you had your definition regarding some overall evaluation where you have global judgment about your life if it meets certain criteria, or if you have sense of calmness, or mm, positive low intensity positive affect with positive direction of your cognition, or a perspective referring to a definition that is empirically oriented, referring to the frequencies of instances of the positive when the positive emotions are experienced as compared to, let's say, experiencing negative emotions in one's totality of his lifetime, diba? So you come up with different definitions, and you can say that they're all sound, okay? And based on those definitions, you now will come up with measurements that correspond to those definitions. For instance, if you are referring to global judgment, perhaps a self-report questionnaire referring to one's self-evaluation, overall evaluation about their life, if they meet certain criteria, in their life. That's maybe the composition of your scale, and the other is referring to their present affect, no, whether they feel calm, they feel tranquil, they report some kind peace of mind if you consider that as a positive affect. And when you can also include their outlook about the future, okay? Because those are the dimensions that you refer to in your other definition. And lastly, on the aggregated experiences of positive affect, there's this what we call experience sampling method, wherein the participants were given pager pa dati, or smartphones, wherein at a certain period in their day, they will be asked what they feel. So it's called experience sampling method. So notice that given the different definitions conceptual definitions you offer, there are counterpart operational definition to capture those. Okay. So for example, you measure you measure happiness by asking how many times they smiled in a day. So depending on the memory, no? And the other is something that is transient and not reflexive, but as a reaction to a stimuli. We could have, let's say, neurophysiological measure, EMG, where there's an activation of their smiling muscle. And of course, the ever so useful self-report scale. Okay. So now let's apply this. Okay. I have these example. I have 5 bullets and a question. I will read out the 5 bullets here. In manipulating the independent variable, positive and negative framing to predict task persistence, the participants were asked to solve anagrams. Framing of incentive is positive if encouraged through gain, and negative when encouraged through loss. The researchers designed two conditions. One group were given $25 per correct solution and 1.5 in total for a perfect score. The other group were given 1.5 before they even begin the anagram task. So whenever they have a wrong solution, whenever they have incorrect response, they will take back $25.25. Now, I have these two boxes and oops. So what I want you to do, okay, so just to update our conceptual map, this is how it works. You have your incentive framing as your independent variable, and you have two conditions in your experiment. You have positive framing. You define it conceptually by defining it as incentivizing through gain and incentivizing in a way that is framed as loss. Okay, so for the negative framing and to make it concrete, a reward in a form of money is offered incrementally and decrementally to follow these conditions. Okay, so now to add to your vocabulary, we are referring to positive framing and negative framing as your levels of the IV. So levels of the IV refers to the number of, so this, since this is experimental research method and your IV is manipulated, the number of conditions of your IV, of your manipulated IV. Okay. So now, again, you have 1 and 2. So you have two levels of your IV. You have two conditions in your experiment. One is positively framed and the other is negatively framed. I count how many conditions did I deliberately design in my experiment. 1, 2. I have two levels of the IV. Okay. So I have another question. Is it a continuous? Is my IV continuous or categorical? So put a star if continuous or a heart if categorical. Okay. So the correct answer is, drum roll please. The correct answer is categorical variable. Why is that so? Okay. It is categorical because you designed the conditions. The design of your conditions are technically categorical. So you have two categories of your conditions. Perhaps you got fixated when you see some numbers here. Okay. So the reason why, even though you used numbers here, you only use those numbers to have concrete operational definition of your variables. The IV is not continuous data. It is rather categorical because as a researcher, I designed those conditions. It's positive framing. So I assigned that it is positive framing and I assigned that it is negative framing. Okay. So again, I made categories. I made the conditions. So they are categories. Dinesign mo yung measure, itong values na yan. Hindi yan collected data from your participants. Hindi mo kinolect sa question na to, hindi mo kinolect kung ilan yung tama nilang sagot in terms of how much they earned. Tinanong mo ba? Importante ba sa'yo na malaman kung ilan yung na-earn nila sa research question? So kung hindi mo yan hinhypothesize how much they earn, then it's not your IV. This is your IV. This is just your way to concretize how is this going to be observed. Okay? So halimbawa, mag-induce ako ng boredom. So my way to operationalize that is to lengthen the time that they will wait. So now the time is there. You measured the time. You ensured that they will wait for a longer period of time compared to the non-boring inducement. of independent variable. Does it make it a continuous variable? So tama, parang socioeconomic status. Hindi sa number of their household income natin sila sinukat, pero sa clustering ng ano nila, ng economic status nila. So nasa ordinal level data siya, pero together we use this as categorical. Halimbawa, ito ay low socioeconomic status. So merong certain income bracket para masabi na sila ay nasa low socioeconomic status. Let's say from 0 to 10,000 pesos a month, kunyari lang. And ito ay, let's say, middle ay nasa, let's say, kunyari lang, 20 to 30K na range. So, you have your continuous data, pero in your analysis, you're only categorizing them. This is ordinal, meron siyang, kumbaga, step, pero sa analysis, we are simplifying them as categorical. Atin, for simplified way of doing it, let's assume or let's simplify it as categorical. But for sa mga mathematician, halimbawa, nag-consult kayo sa ibang discipline, no? Hindi sa psychologist or in some other practice. Kung, let's say, purist statistician ang tinanong nyo, re-recommend sila ng ibang klaseng analysis kasi technically, ordinal data yan. So, merong ibang analysis na ginagamit dyan. Pero sa atin kasi, sa practice ng discipline natin, we're trying to simplify it. Kasi ang goal lang naman is magamit mo yung tool, statistics as a tool to interpret it. So, pag in-streamline siya na mas madali, nagiging very helpful yung tool in that manner. Okay? So, ganun siya. So, next, let's apply is the operational definition of the DB. Okay? So, I will create another set of boxes, and I want you to mark a star for conceptual definition. Okay? And mark some heart for operational definition. Conceptual, then operational. Okay. So, create a stamp now. The answer is the third bullet because the outcome, your dependent variable here refers to the motivation or persistence. And the way that they operationalize that is by measuring the time spent in doing the anagram task. So mind you that the anagram task that they use in the study is actually unsolvable. So there were parts that are solvable so that you keep on engaging in the task. So it varies in difficulty. But anagram task items that were unsolvable, sorry. So the anagram task items that were unsolvable are the ones being used are on those parts, doon mini-measure yung time they spent solving those items, the unsolvable items of those anagram tasks. So you will spend we expect, for instance, that there will be a difference in time spent in doing the unsolvable anagram task items if they differ in the incentive framing condition that they were assigned to. Okay? So that's how we are using that. Okay? So updating our conceptual map, we identified our dependent variable, and we have our corresponding conceptual and operational definition of our dependent variable. So my question is the DV continuous or continuous or categorical? Okay, so it is obvious that this is a continuous level of measurement. Okay, if we are to be particular, whether it is interval or ratio, time in seconds is ratio because zero is meaningful. Okay, mayroong ibig sabihin yung zero as absolute. Okay.